obviously not the end result you wanted. What did you think of your performance?
Some ups, some downs. Definitely not my best game. Just tried to keep fighting. I think starting with the first drive, kind of getting settled in. Felt like there were times where I was settled in. Felt like there were other times where I needed to play better. But, I think it was not up to my standard of how I would have liked to play.
What was the interception and kind of what you saw in it?
Yeah, I knew we had points, and so we called basically just a slot curl concept, and just trying to felt like it was cover 3, ended up being 2 invert. I was just trying to get the ball to Jamar quickly, not go backwards, get an easy field goal, and the guy just kept buzzing out there and made a bad read.
How much did the lack of running game compromise what you wanted to do on offense when you were, third and longs, maybe third and not so manageable because of that?
Yeah, I think anytime as a defense you can make a team one-dimensional, it's definitely in the defense's favor. But it's not really my job to assess the run game. I got my run game checks. Felt like most of those, I think I was 100% on those, so that's kind of my role in the run game. So I think, long answer, but yes, that does make it difficult, but it's not really my area of focus. I need to focus on being better in the pass game.
What kind of worked on the touchdown play? What kind of was on that kind of come about?
Just a naked off of a counter, and then dumped it off to Drew, and did a good job finishing in the end zone.
What's it been like to see Drew kind of have the year he's had after kind of his first few years here in the league?
Yeah, I think Drew's carving out a nice role for us. Does a lot for us on third down. Does a lot in the run game, and is catching more and more passes, which I think rounds out his entire game. I think everybody knew he's a really good run game tight end and really smart. And so adding that to his game, it definitely makes him more versatile.
You talked all week about being aggressive. How do you feel like you manage the line between pushing the ball and making the play and making?
I think that's always kind of hard to know until you watch the tape. And it's hard to give a generalized answer. I think there were some where it was good to be aggressive, and I think there were some where could have just checked it down and maybe not taken some sacks. But I think part of me getting back into the groove of playing and stuff like that is kind of figuring out, like, okay, where is that line for me, and where is that line in this offense, and what is that line I need to play on in order to give us the best chance to win the game.
Did you feel you were able to start establishing a chemistry with Jamar today? Big plays, striking downfield. I think you had the 1 yard down the right sideline.
Yeah. I think anytime Jamar's one-on-one, I'm going to go give him a chance, and I think that's what you want from your primary receiver. And thought he did well and made some plays, and I think anytime he's one-on-one, I'm going to give him a shot.
On the TV, right after you threw the pick, your reaction was you knew exactly what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I just made the decision too early in the play. Like, let the play out and let 17 decide if he's going to cover the curl or cover the guy in the flat. And I kind of made the decision without really reading it out to, like, hey, let's just get the ball. They're very soft on Jamar. Let's just get the ball to him, get forward, get 3. This is going to be a game that comes down to, it's not going to be a shootout. And so, that was kind of my thought process. And in hindsight, I guess, play out the play and read it out. Don't just see something pre-snap and kind of make a decision.
That comes from what your last start was the Rose Bowl of 2019. That's part of the.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a cop out for me to sit here and say that any interception was because I haven't played in a while. Like, it's a cop out. I think I can read out that play and make the right decision.
Is it too early to get a sense of what is the biggest thing you'll build upon going forward from today?
Yeah, probably a little too early. I would say there's just some things like maybe that don't show up on tape, like kind of learning, all right, here's what it looks like to start a game, and I think figure out where that, like I said, where that line is playing aggressive, but then also knowing that this isn't going to be a 42 to 45 game. So taking some of those sacks when you're trying to make the play end up hurting you in some field position stuff. And I think just the overall experience I will build from, and being able to see myself on tape and critique it pretty hard will be good for me too.
Two things. First, were you dealing with any kind of hand issue that you?
I just started cramping.
Okay. And then, how much do you think the early down efficiency over the course of the year, not just today, but how much has that kind of maybe led to why the offense hasn't been maybe what y'all needed to be when you're in second and long?
Yeah, I think anytime you get behind the sticks, especially in this division with all the really good defenses and really good pass rushers, it's going to be difficult. And as far as an assessment on the overall first down efficiency, I'd be lying if I had any real assessment on that. But in general, yeah, that's going to really make it difficult against. You look at our division and you look at the last two games, and we played against two of the best defenses in two of the first cracks at live action in the NFL for me. And so you need to stay ahead of the sticks. We need to be more efficient. And, I think everybody plays a role in that, but I'm just going to focus on my role, which is getting the ball out quicker and finding that line that I've kind of gone back to.
I know it's good it may only seem like 3 yards, but from a quarterback perspective, what's like from your vantage point, what's the difference when you're like in a 2nd and 6 or 5 versus like a 2nd and 9 or 8? What is that, from an offensive standpoint, how is that different?
I think the main goal is to stay out of 3rd and long. And 3rd and longs are very difficult, and especially against a defense like that. And so I think when you're behind the sticks on 2nd down, there's a lot of pressure to get an efficient play on that 2nd down. And so play calls kind of go down, and some defenses will even start calling their 3rd down calls on 2nd down because they know, hey, they're going to throw here. And so I think that makes it difficult. And staying ahead of the sticks, like the one drive where we go down and score, stayed ahead of the sticks, stayed out of 3rd down, had some good play action, called a couple screens that were good. And, I think that's ideally how you would like an offensive drive to go. And you kind of saw how efficient we were there and that capability to be that efficient. But we just got to find that efficiency consistently.
Jake, you waited so long for this moment, and now it's here. Can you appreciate that, or does the loss color over it, or there's a balance in there?
Yeah, I think, over the next 24 hours maybe, or at some point it will not feel like just pissed that we lost. Or maybe it'll take a year or two, but I think we just lost a close game where you feel like you didn't play your best and we didn't play well enough on offense. We only gave up 16 points on defense and we lost. And so, I think that's kind of my primary thought in my head.
You had said that you weren't wanting to feel the pressure of having to take over a team that's trying to achieve goals of the postseason. Do you still feel that way after a loss like today, or do you feel the weight of that a little bit more?
I think just focusing on what I can build on from this game, all the overarching themes of a season and stuff like that. I think those kind of storylines are big for your guys' job, but for my job, it's just day to day and trying to consistently get better. And if I do consistently get better, then good things will happen. And I think just really having a narrow focus on that. There's 100 different narratives you could run with in your head. And, I think for me to play my best, I got to avoid all those. And that's kind of my plan of attack, is just avoid whatever narratives are going on and just go home, watch the film, come into meetings on Monday, and just say, okay, where do we go from here, and what do I need to do better in order to help us win?
Zac, what did you think were the biggest keys to the Steelers getting out of there with a win today?
I think it started out how we assumed it was going to. On a day like today against a team like that. First half, 7-3, coming in the end of the half. And just what I talked to the team about is, when we get opportunities, ball in the red zone, we got to come away with points. We get an opportunity at the end of half to maybe pin them down there deep as opposed to touchback and let our defense get a stand and get the ball back. We got to take advantage of it. And then when we do pin them down there, at the 11-yard line, we can't let them pop out on the first play. And so I think you just look at the entirety of the team there, and there were some situations that we certainly could have handled better, that in a one-score game, can end up being the difference. And credit to Pittsburgh, they handled those situations, and I thought we could have done a better job of that today.
Zach, why was Fryermuth able to have such a...
He made some one-on-one plays. I thought that there were a lot of times we were tight in coverage, and there were some times he's over the ball in zone coverage, and they put it on him, and he goes down quickly. So, again, we'll watch the tape and see really what the issue was there.
How much of the inability to run the ball really hampered you guys, and what was the issue in the run game?
Yeah, that's life versus Pittsburgh, and it's that's what's going to happen. It's going to be tough sledding when you're running the ball. We need to get more production out of that. It takes the pressure off the pass game. That's what they rely on. They rely on taking off the run and being able to rush the passer and putting you in known passing situations. And so we got to do a better job. Just managing the drives as we go and putting ourselves in a little bit more advantageous situations. Obviously, if you can put yourself in a situation where you call more runs and you're not in 2nd and 10, 2nd and long, 3rd and longer, you can get more runs off. Then eventually some of those runs start to get you bigger gains. And we didn't get an opportunity to get enough runs off.
Is volume an issue right now in the run game?
We only had, 40 plays, I think, and you're going to look at a lot of them as 2-minute and 3rd down. So at the end of the day, you just got to look at normal down plays, run and pass. And we tried to do our best to keep some balance there, but there wasn't a lot of opportunities in this game.
What's your confidence level in Joe Mixon right now, Zach?
Very high. This has nothing to do with Joe Mixon. This is the entirety of the unit coming together, and so don't make this about one person. It's not like there was missed opportunities there from what I could see. He continues to run hard, and he's given us what we needed this season.
What did you think of Jake's first third?
What's that?
Jake Browning's first third.
I thought he handled some things really well for us, and it's a tough task to play a divisional game versus a good defense in your first game. There's going to be plenty of things he can learn from. I told him just welcome. This is just the first chapter in his story, of getting to play a real football game and getting a chance to assess his performance and rebound and move forward and still have all the confidence in the world in Jake.
Was Chase Brown able to run the ball today, or was it?
We just didn't have any opportunities. Mixon had 8 carries, and so you take away 1 or 2 of those, and he gets 6. So again, we need more snaps. We need to get more first downs that give us more snaps. That can be defensively, getting them off the field a little quicker, so we get more possessions. But at the end of the day, I think the offense has got to find a way to generate more production, get points on the board, keep the defense off the field, and take some of the pressure off of them.
There were some penalties. Looked like there were some miscommunications. Can you pinpoint, why that's been happening and how you can fix it at this point?
The ones that stand out to me, there's no PI. That's a bam play. It is. We are going to be blocking downfield after the catch. It's just a timing issue of when you can do it. And I think they dropped a defensive end, and so it happened a little quicker than you're really planning for it happening. And so that's unfortunate there. And I know we had a false start one time on a 3rd and 5 that put us in a 3rd and 10, and so we cannot have that. That's a communication issue that we got to be better at. And so again, things that we got to continue to just assess them all as a whole and see. Some of them are just going to be part of playing the game, and some of them we can certainly clean up, and we got to assess where they all fall into.
Kind of that, and expanding off that, there are reasons some things that were strengths of the roster last year might not have carried over into this year.
I think we have a really good football team, and we just got to find a way to get wins here. We're on a 3-game stretch now. We haven't found a way to do that. We had a great stride going into these 3 games. And so, again, that's kind of how the NFL season goes. You're going to hit stretches, and you got to find a way to overcome them and regroup. And I told these guys Monday Night Football is the perfect opportunity to be able to put your best foot forward and change the narrative of what's happened these last couple of weeks. And I've got confidence this team will rebound the right way this week and put in the work they need to.
There was a flag call, Zach, on their only touchdown. What did you see on that play? And did you get any communication as to why they picked up the holding?
The initial call was holding, and then they decided it wasn't holding. So that's really all there is to it.
Is it even more frustrating when some of the same themes continue to happen on the defensive side of the ball, whether it be explosive plays and shoring up the run defense? Yeah,
they keep points off the board. That's what we want. And to hold them to 3 points in the first half, I feel like offensively we can do more on that first drive, the second half, to build a 10-3 lead or 14-3 lead maybe, and then the defense can really play the style of ball that they want to play. And so, again, we'll assess the performance by everybody and what we need to continue to improve on. I saw some really positive things from our defense tonight as well.
Is that where you'd say the game turned a bit in their favor, is that interception?
Well, I think just the turnover battle in general is something we preached all week, and we ended in a tie. We had the lead in halftime. You got to find a way to get one out on defense or special teams. That was a big part of it, so that factors in as well. And we just got to do a great job protecting the ball.
How much was kind of what you wanted to call similar to what you would had Joe been able to play?
Well, it's a hard question to answer because sometimes when you play these divisional opponents, the whole game shifts. These are some of the best defenses in the NFL when you play the 3 teams in our division, and so you got to play a certain way against these teams. So, we didn't have Joe this week, so I didn't game plan with Joe. So I can't really answer that question. Just know that we got to be situational sound. We got to win the turnover battle. Can't have the penalties that we had today in order to win games like this.
Logan got nicked up at the end there. Do you know?
I think ankle. Don't know the severity of it. Again, there was only a couple plays left in the game, so unknown whether or not he could have come back.
Big picture-wise, how big of a dent does this put into what you want to do, where you want to go?
Yeah, we have to move our focus forward. There's nothing we can do to change this one, and it's important that these guys and I trust that they will. The leadership's going to continue to step up. These guys are going to remain close. Our attention to detail has got to continue to be sharp, and just find ways to win in December. And that's this team has shown the ability to do that in the past. And again, I assume that we're going to play a lot of teams coming forward that have a lot of adversity of their own, whether it's injuries or whatever it is. So again, no one's sitting around feeling sorry for ourselves. We got to pull ourselves up, and we got to find a way to get wins coming down here in the stretch, and that starts Monday night.
How do you think Jake managed the aggressiveness part of the game, knowing when to take shots, when to check the ball down?
Yeah, I thought he made some great throws that allowed us to move the ball down the field, and so again, that's all going to be part of the experience process with him. The more he gets to play, the more comfortable he's going to be. They had that's one of the better defensive lines in the NFL. And so they pose a lot of issues, and the truth of it is when you get behind and they get to really play to their strengths, that becomes a challenge. And for a guy in his first start, we got to do a great job taking that pressure off of him and finding a way to play with the lead.
Jack, are you able to confirm that Joe Burrow is going to have surgery on Monday?
Yes.
Do you expect to have a full recovery?
Yes.